The transfer window's gone a bit quiet, hasn't it? I mean, apart from that 240 million quid we spent like weeks ago now, we've done nothing. Typical Spurs. So, who's coming in? According to the ITKs, who isn't? Krupi, is that likely? Rafael Leão, the pound shop Antoine Semenyo? And why are we linked to Neco Williams? Why would we sell Djed Spence and to Everton of all dead ends? As Twitter Gary would have it, make it make sense. And who's off? Bergvall to Villa for 50 million? Mikey to Dortmund because, according to the cognoscenti, it worked for Jadon Sancho. Did it? Did it really? Maybe Archie and Tell, who, according to Gary, RDZ doesn't fancy. The lads are back in training. Video of them carrying their wash bags and smiling was uplifting, and crucially, most of them weren't limping. Meanwhile, Pedro Porro continues to confound, looking like peak Cafu for Spain when he's tended to look like trough Emerson Royal for Spurs. Finally, a key question. If you had to get a Spurs tattoo, what would it be and where would you stick it? Maybe you've got one. We'll discuss. We're opening up room 101 today. Dump my wife in there. I've gone quiet, in case you can hear me. And a load of other stuff. Strap in. It's Nice One, Cyril.
Nice one, Cyril.
So welcome to Nice One, Cyril. I'm Simon Lipson, the poor man's Rory Bremner. With me today are Julie Welch, the poor man's Alison Rudd, and Lee Brown, the poor man's Daniel Craig. Don't give me V signs, Julie. Now then, let's talk about our transfer business. A lot of it has already happened, we feel, don't we? Lee, what do you make of the window so far? Are you disappointed that it's all slowed down to barely a crawl?
I'm cock a hoop. I mean, what kind of, magic is this? We've never seen a window like this, have we? I mean, we've had, some strongish windows before, but now we're actually buying players that would walk into any team in the Premier League. I mean, Tonali would walk into Man City's team. So these are times to be joyful. Look at how much business we've done at this point in the window, and you compare that to previous seasons where we're probably just starting to get going, maybe about now, and we've already got in about 5 or 6 transformational players. I'm cock a hoop.
It is good. Of course, as I said in the intro there, that, people now, why are we not doing any business? Why haven't we bought a left wing, or why haven't we bought a centre forward? Well, give it time. The window's only been open 5 minutes. It's open all the way through till, I don't know when, well, Julie would know, late August or something, early September. Julie, there's still lots of talk about Krupi. We talked about him last week on the pod. Seems a lot of money for a kid. I'm not sure. Is he a centre forward? Is he more of a Thierry Henry type? Which, no, nothing wrong with that, of course. We'd have a guy coming in scoring goals from the left wing. But is he that guy?
Good question, Simon. I think
Thank you.
What we've got at the moment is Richarlison, who I adore. Not because he's any good, and Solanke. I think at the moment, fashion is moving away from, the big bloke up front who's the point of the needle, who scores all the goals. I mean, somebody like Haaland is in a way a bit of a throwback. We've got that guy in Solanke who is, he's all right. He's just had a lot of periods where he's not fit to play. But we do need, I think now we're looking for, forwards who can play across the line. In other words, it's Richarlison with a bit of talent. So basically,
anybody.
Does Krupi fill the bill? I don't know. He's certainly promising. The only thing that we've seen of him recently is a photo of him, in his Bournemouth shirt, sitting in front of a plate full of pastries. I think he's had a swift photo opportunity at Greg's or something like that. Is he any good? Well, it's hard to say, isn't it? A lot of these players get hyped up. We're also looking at Marmoush from City, another City reject, who's forward, who, does all that sort of stuff. Semenyo is still in the frame. Those two are both players who can sort of play across the forward line, score goals occasionally, like, a lot of the players that we've got that have been brought in are capable of doing exactly that. It's difficult to know what RDZ is actually looking for. And it's gone very quiet at the moment because I think our new director of football operations, as I think he's called, Carlos Rafael Merson, I think that after all the sort of flourishing of the checkbook earlier on, he's probably gone out to have a swift fag break or something like that.
Who could blame him? Yeah. Well, the word is that he's been involved in the negotiations for all of the players we've brought in so far, and here they are. They're on the roster, aren't they, Julie? So that's good. Now then,
you heard a sharp intake of breath there.
I can't say roster, and you know it, and we all know it. Let's continue actually a little bit on this forward front. I mean, Lee, Kev Acott of this parish has suggested that Solanke would be great alongside a goal-scoring forward. We know Solanke is not a prolific goal scorer, but he's a hard worker. He's got skill. He's fast. He's strong, and that we need a finisher. We need, who we need? Clive Allen. That's who we need. Alongside him, a little sniffer of chances. But those guys are hard to find. I'm not sure Krupi is that guy either. I think he is the guy who plays across the line and scores a few goals and beats a few men and does lots of things. But they're hard to find, aren't they? The Haalands and the Harry Kanes, the guys who regularly notch 30, 40, 50 goals a season. They're not around, are they?
No, Kevin Acott, we need to remind each other also, says bald heads are good as well, don't forget. But anyway, going back to your point, I think Solanke is a very good player. He's a technical player. I think he definitely has a place in this team. And like Julie's favourite, the one that should be off to the donkey sanctuary, Richarlison. But I do think we need an out and out striker. And although Solanke is a good player at linking up play, I don't think he is that real goal poacher that we need. But maybe we could get Kane back. Who knows? I mean, we're throwing the money around. He's in his last season at Bayern. Stranger things have happened.
There has been talk, hasn't there, Julie, about Kane coming back? I think it's frivolous, mischief-making nonsense. But the argument would be, well, Harry wants to become the record goal scorer in the Premier League. Harry needs about another 30, 40 goals. Where else would he do that other than Spurs? The answer is he doesn't really need to do that to prove who he is and what he's worth, and he can play for any team in the world. And why would he come to this shit team that finished 17th twice?
I think that's just mischief making. I cannot see Harry Kane coming back to Spurs. I mean, he's made the break. He's done fantastically well with his family in Germany. If he goes anywhere, he might go to Spain, might go to Real, to Barca, somewhere like that. I mean, he is a classic player. Coming back to Spurs, which would be fantastic, of course. But how much longer has he got, really? Maybe.
Well, that's the thing, isn't it? Do we want an old codger who's past it?
Well, this is the wrong pod to discuss that.
You have me on this podcast, so what can I say?
That's true. That's a good point. Well made. Let's have a talk about Rafael Leão. The truth is, we see bits of video of these players. He looks like a bloke. Wow, he's fast. God, he's skillful. God, he scores some amazing goals. Those are videos. What does he do for? What's he going to do on a wet Tuesday, Goodison Park or whatever they call it now? That's really the bottom line, isn't it? Do you remember Everton bought? He's still playing, actually. I saw him in this World Cup and I've forgotten his name. The guy who dazzled in a World Cup, left-footed Colombian. And he did nothing for them. And I suspect that Rafael Leão is, I don't know, as I called him, a pound shop Semenyo. I don't think he's the guy, but there seems to be a lot of talk about him.
He looks really promising, doesn't he? He's got, he seems to be getting a lot of traction, a lot of love from the so-called ITKs. Everyone's saying we must get him. I do think he reminds me of another Mwani or a Paulo Wanchop or something like that. He's got that kind of vibe about him where he would probably look electric, bombing up the wing, and then he'll just hit the first man, or he'll or he'll come to nothing. I just. Not sure about him at all. That said, I probably don't know enough about him. In the World Cup, I've seen him play a few times, and he's looked pretty lively, pretty skillful, but not much end product is what I see.
Yeah. And so, God, just don't say Mwani out loud anymore. We think we should ban it on this podcast. And of course, there was some, again, more mischief making people saying that it was a kind of terrifying rumour, wasn't it, that we were actually coming back for him. I mean, and in fairness to Leo, or Leo, whatever his surname actually is, he does actually produce stuff, whereas Mwani produced nothing, literally nothing for us. So, Leo would only have to score a goal, really, to set himself apart from Mwani.
Or just be able to tie his shoelaces up, mate. That would be better, wouldn't it? Well,
Exactly. Let's have a chat about some of these youngsters, Julie. Bergvall, a lot of talk about him going to either Villa to replace possibly Tielemans or to Nottingham Forest. 50 million is the suggested fee. And then, of course, the great Mikey. Some talk about him going to Dortmund, albeit on loan, because then he'll come back as a fully fledged Bellingham. So there is that. There is a suggestion, isn't there, that RDZ is focused on the here and now, that he's buying players who can turn up and play right now and do good stuff, whereas, the previous administration, and going back a long way, has been all about buying promising kids and hoping they'll flourish. But I'd personally hate to see Bergvall go, and I absolutely would hate to see Archie Gray go.
It's a new thing, isn't it? I mean, because today, we've had the news that Vuskovic has officially signed for Brighton, 50 million. Is it now buy these young prospects, they show promise, and flog them to a club slightly lower down the food chain? I would hate to see Bergvall go, but partly that's sentimental because he was so good during Ange's regime. Super player. I would hate to see Archie Gray go because, as I've said before, he's my new kind of Steve Perryman figure, the guy who sort of stays forever and ends up our captain and all that sort of stuff. I know, Simon, that it would break your heart if Mikey Moore...
I can barely function thinking about that. It just destroys me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to... I live to see Mikey Moore play for Spurs. That's the only thing which keeps me on this terrible planet at the moment. Reverting back to Rafael Leão or whatever, or Zhao Lao, yeah, strikes me as a bit of a tell, and we've already got one of those.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to say. Certainly with Bergvall and Andy Gray, these are players that I've sort of liked since they arrived, and I would hate to see them go. But the restocking of our midfield under RDZ is such that they're not going to get a game because we aren't in Europe. So what can you say? What can you do?
Well, that's right, isn't it? It's a lack of opportunity really for them, to be thrown into sort of semi-meaningless games, because every game's going to matter this coming season. Absolutely everything. We've got to throw all our best resources at every competition. There is this thing, isn't there, Lee? The idea that you nurture a kid, and all right, arguably, if we sell Bergvall, and we've already sold Vuskovic, 100 million quid. All right, they didn't do much for us, but that's good money. We can buy someone with that. But there's also this sense that, oh God, what if they're really fucking brilliant at Brighton, Nottingham Forest, or wherever, and we think, oh God, we could have hung on to them for another season.
I just hope we've decided now what type of club we want to be. And I say that because obviously in the recent past, what we decided we wanted to be is a club that buys the very best young talent, brings them through with a manager who's an up-and-coming manager who will nurture them into a future successful team, and they'll all come together at the right boiling point at the right time. Now, that's shown to be not very effective, mostly because you just cannot guarantee if those players are ever going to make it or come to that boiling point. But what we can do is decide as we buy these best players, which are the ones that are going to make it, and use those players with the oven ready type player that we're buying now. And they then become players that get a bit of game time, but they're showing the way ahead, like your Mikey Moores and Bergvall, who will say, look, you are going to be the successor to these. You're going to get that game time, but just be patient. You're only 20. We see you as like Gray, the future captain, but we need to kind of bring you through, understand that this is the plan. And that's the sort of club I hope we'll be.
Yeah.
Or will we end up being a Chelsea type club where we sell these players for the best value to try and boost our books? I don't know. I just hope it's...
But the difficulty, I guess, Lee, is that these days, players, if you say to them, look, Lucas, you're going to sit on the bench for most of the season, but, you're going to gain experience. You're going to come on late in games. You're going to get the odd start in a Carabao and all that kind of stuff. He's going to say, I'm a Swedish international. I played at the World Cup. And his agent is going to say, fuck that. I want him gone. And that kind of pressure, the player, it's different, isn't it, Julie, these days? we talked to Steve Perrin about this. Players were, it's kind of servile back in the day. But these days, they've got powerful agents. They have powerful voices. They're multi-millionaires. And they can say to a club, I'm sorry, I'm just not sticking around to be sitting on the bench. And that's also a difficult dynamic, isn't it, in terms of the squad cohesion.
It's extremely difficult. And I think that the thing about Spurs is we're still a bit stuck on the kind of Harry Kane myth. The bloke who sticks around, just incrementally improves season after season, suddenly turns into this, the caterpillar who turns into this wonderful butterfly or whatever. And of course, it just doesn't happen now. I mean, that was 15 years back, something like that. The whole model has changed. And it's interesting that you raised the Chelsea model, which is, I've got a suspicion that is where we're going. I feel gutted about it in a way because it just feels so not Spurs. But there's the sense of a brave new world being embraced by the people up top at Tottenham. I'm not quite sure where it's going. I mean, they're spending all this lovely money, or they have been. If they bring in a couple more for the front line, whatever, to use the cliche, it's a whole new ball game. And the trouble is that you do get fond of players. You do get attached to what you think a player's going to be. It's lovely to watch a young player come through.
Yeah.
And, be with the club for the significant part of their career. And I can't see it happening anymore.
I think Julie probably is onto the right thing about the model that we use, and which is similar to Chelsea's. I heard someone the other day. I'll try and explain it. I might make a complete hash of it, but essentially, what we could do here, which is fascinating, is that these players like Bergvall, etc., who we might have bought, like for example, Vuskovic, we paid about 12 million for him. We sold him for nearly 50. They all that money goes on the books this year. And at the moment, we look like we're going to shift out probably like 8 to 10 players. That's an enormous amount of money that could go on to the books this year. Now, any players that we buy going forward now, like we bought Tonali, etc., they're all on amortized contracts. So in essence, with the wages that are going out, and even though we've upped the wages of some that are coming in, we're still only going to be about 50% of our turnover to wages. And in terms of the money that we bring in immediately onto these books, it's still going to look incredibly healthy. We've got huge headroom to be able to buy more players. So in actual fact, the strategy as it stands financially makes more sense to go down that Chelsea route, to be able to sell a lot of the players we don't particularly need now, reshape the team, and even though we're up in the wages, it won't actually matter too much because it will be, a fag paper away from what it is at the moment once we get shot of a load of the players. I can see, like you were saying, Julie, that we probably will go this route. And let's face it, again, like Julie was suggesting or hinting at here, is that, unless the team is doing well now, people haven't got any patience anyway for players, and those players won't have any patience for it if it all starts falling apart because it becomes their fault. So, I think maybe we will go down just the oven-ready player now, and then turning over really good quality pickups that we get from elsewhere.
I mean, Julie's kind of referring to the, my mate Mikey Moore and the Harry Kane. These are the exceptions to the rule these days, aren't they? The idea of club nurtured players coming through, but we love a one of our own type, don't we? We do love that, and this sort of brings me on rather brilliantly, segueing here, Julie, to Lancashire. Will Lancashire. Now, he had a really good loan at Oxford United last season. Didn't score a hatful, but he scored plenty of goals, and he showed a lot more than just finishing. He looked pretty good all around the pitch, kind of Solanke with finishing. And of course, in our dreams, he's the next Harry Kane. Harry Kane didn't do much at the age of, he wasn't kind of much vaunted at 21, which is what Lancashire is. And interestingly, there have been offers for him, and it seems that the club is rejecting all offers for him, and which would suggest that he's going to be somewhere in the running for, well, perhaps he is the kid on the substitutes bench who comes on for 20 minutes to try and get us a late goal.
I'd be really happy if that happened. That does sort of strike a chord with me. Looking at Lancashire now, he was this sort of weedy lad when he started to be noticed. He's now sort of turned into a proper bloke. Looks a lot bigger. He's put on muscle. He looks more confident. I haven't seen what he's done for Oxford, so I can't talk authoritatively about him. But I mean, from the point of view, just a personal point of view, I'd be so pleased if they hung on to him at least for a year. And as you say, let him get sort of, I don't know, even if it's 10 minutes at the end of a game, bring him on in the Carabao Cup. Or as we old ones used to call it, the League Cup. Maybe give him a bit of a turn in the FA Cup. I'd just be absolutely so delighted if at least one of our home grounds could actually make it in the sort of next couple of years or so. But of course, it does depend on RDZ and what he's got in mind, and we don't know, do we?
Well, we are waiting for that to unfold, aren't we? Because obviously, what happened in the last 7 games of last season was he set us up to survive, and now he's going to be setting us up to achieve, I hope. A couple of other names that, well, in fairness, I mean, our ITKs are running out of ideas, Lee. Here's a name, Arne Engels. I don't even know who the hell he plays for. He might be Swiss or something. He's been mentioned. We've had, Tyler Dibbling. Someone's back in with Tyler Dibbling, and
that sounds like that's a village in a P.G. Woodhouse book.
Yes.
bit like Farley Wallop and Tyler Dibbling. They're neighbouring villages. The other one, of course, never seems to go away, is Semenyo. Now, you hear a lot of talk about Semenyo. As we've said before on the pod, it feels like it's just kind of a relic of a previous administration that somehow his name just, in the absence of any other names, well, why not mention Semenyo? I don't know. I don't know enough about him. You'll see some great film of him doing great things, and you'll also know that he got half a game for Man City last season. Any thoughts on Semenyo, or is it? Or do you think this is just another load of bullshit?
Well, he did really well when he was in Spain, and he was one of the sort of players I do believe that got, is it Girona he was with, and they got for the first time into the Champions League. So his stock was high, and then I think he was acquired by the City Group. I think, did the City Group own Girona? I'm not sure, but he kind of got moved to there. It hasn't really happened. I mean, he's got Doku in front of him, isn't he? I believe so. That's one of the reasons why he's not had much game time. But I don't know. I mean, I what I've seen of him, he looks all right. He's never really affected games when I've seen him come on. Since he's been mentioned, I've looked out for him whenever they played, and he's come on, and I thought he's been largely anonymous. And so I don't know are we just doing them a favour and getting the crap off their books?
Yes, it's always that danger. Why are you getting rid of him? Why would you get rid of Marmouche if they're any good? Here's another one. And I think, Julie, this is the ultimate wet dream of some wanking ITK. And this was on a tweet. It said, Tottenham Hotspur do have Morgan Rogers on their shortlist, but they deemed that deal as close to impossible, as they believed that Morgan Rogers would only leave Aston Villa to join a UCL side. Now, that idiotic tweet, of course, inspired lots of other ITKs to say Spurs are looking at Morgan Rogers. Hey, where would we put him? It sounds like a stupid question. You can put a great player anywhere. But we've just bought two hugely expensive midfielders. We've got Maddison. We've got maybe Kulusevski coming up. Where do you put him? He's not a left winger, which is where we've got a requirement. This again, is it rather like the Kane thing? Is it just, stupid wishful thinking?
To be honest, it's just ITK wank, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
I mean, I think Morgan Rogers is a fantastic player. Would have loved him to have joined Spurs had it not been for the purchase of Fernandes and Tonali. Super player. Why would Aston Villa want to get rid of him?
But there might be some financial necessity there.
Yeah.
They're offloading players.
To be honest, I don't give a toss about Aston Villa.
Yes, fuck them.
Same as Newcastle, that's their problem, not mine. As I say, I think that's just an ITK wet dream, isn't it? And expect more nonsense in the next few weeks as well. We can always have fun with it.
I've got Jennifer Lawrence on my short list, but I think the deal is deemed as an impossible.
It's also been mentioned, De Ketelaere, the Belgian striker.
Yeah.
But again, what's that about? What is that about? Apart from
he scored a couple of goals in the World Cup, didn't he?
Well,
but actually, he's not really a striker.
He's like Balogun, isn't he? It's one of those names that pop up in the World Cup, and everybody's talking about them, and then they just go into the oubliette, complete obscurity, never heard of again.
I just wanted to read a couple of fantastically fucking stupid tweets. This was a guy tweeted this on last Tuesday. It said Bournemouth have accepted, that's in capital letters, Tottenham's £85 million bid for Junior Krupi. On Wednesday, he tweeted, Bournemouth accepted, that's also in capital letters, Tottenham's email regarding Junior Krupi. The email went straight to their message requests, which meant that Bournemouth did not see the bid for days. Bournemouth are yet to respond to Spurs regarding the £85 million bid. Now, this wanker tweeted something utterly ridiculous on Tuesday, and then on Wednesday tried to cover his tracks by saying they didn't accept the bid. They accepted the email containing the bid. That's what I meant. That's what I meant to say. It's this level of utter vacuity that makes Twitter such a joy. Julie?
Well, what can you expect? If only they did their, negotiations by carrier pigeon, there would be none of these problems.
No, well, exactly that. Here's another one. Krupi, it's the biggest idiot from the entire world if he's going to Spursy. Now, that tweeter was apparently an entrepreneur. And on his profile, it said COYG, nuff said. This was my Tyler Dibbling one. Tyler Dibbling continues to attract serious interest. Probability, 51%. Risk, 6 out of 10. Around 40 million could look like a bargain in 3 years. Thank you for that. Quick, let's move on from idiots on Twitter to an idiot who plays for us. Well, he's not, and that's not fair. Pedro Porro Lee. Now, we call him Performative Pedro. I feel we never have quite seen the best of Pedro Porro, to say the least. he's playing for Spain right now, looking like Cafu. What the fuck is going on?
I'm opposed to your view on Pedro Porro. I've always said he's a really good player.
You liar. I'm going back through all the old recordings. I'm going to pick you up.
I'm flip-flopping. Yeah, you've managed to persuade me one pod that he was dog shit, and I agreed. And but before that, I quite liked him. But I suspect it's because he's got a lot of really good players around him that make him look good. He's one of these players. I think Romero's like that. He plays to the mean. You know, that when he's got when people around him are playing really well, he plays really well. He's not a player that can lift it, you know, that whole team by himself, like a Bellingham or something. Having said that, I mean, he's looked like one of the best players of the tournament. He's
one of those players. Of course, if you were watching the World Cup, and you'd never seen him before, you're going, fucking hell, let's get him. He looks brilliant, that guy. I'm coming to you for this one, Julie.
Right.
Richarlison.
Yes.
Has revealed he passed the UK citizenship test after studying for 3 months, which suggests that he's got his heart set on staying in the UK, probably with us. Wouldn't that be great?
He's here to stay. Yeah. I've emailed him personally and he's accepted my email. And I've said he can come and live in my house. You know.
Hang on, has he accepted your email in capitals? Is it accepted?
It's a big caps lock accepted. I don't know. As I've said before on this pod, both today, every other pod that we've ever done, that I think Richarlison is fantastic. I loved all the goals he scored for us last season because they were a huge contribution to our survival. He makes me laugh. I love his shithousery. Fantastic player. But I just don't know if I can face another season with Richarlison.
I've got to say, when he was out injured, last season, I always cycle to the ground and I park up in the car park just across the road from the ground. And for 2 weeks running, or 2 matches running, he turned up in a very big car with blacked out windows. And he got out the car and walked to the ground. And I have to say, he cut an impressive figure. Tall, kind of powerful, sinewy. And I thought, do you know what? That looks like a footballer. But of course, once he puts the kit on...
He's just got this look, hasn't he? That he looks like the sort of person who's lost a tenner and found a pound. He's always like...
He does, yes. That is so true. Let's have a move on, Why don't we do a bit of Room 101 and then we'll move on to other matters. Julie, what have you got for us?
Yeah, well, I have got, first of all, the word roster, which has crept into the cesspit, which is known as X or Twitter, used by a lot of Americans who have, suddenly discovered that they can make a lot of noise and shout about how much they know about football. So roster. What is roster? It's not roster. It's fucking team or squad or team sheet. I just want to, make that clear. The other thing is that I'm looking for it on my phone now. Our fellow nice one, Cyrilla, Dave Bradshaw, responded to a tweet by an American bloke. Oh, bloody hell, I bet I can't find it. Yes, I can. No, I can't. I
know what it said. Shall I help out?
Go on. I got it.
Go on.
It's a bloke called Jeff.
Yeah.
So fuck knows who he is. Refs don't call foul on the field before the goal and then after. Take Norway's go-ahead goal away on a flop. And Dave, bless his heart, fine man, he responds, go-ahead goal, fuck off, get back to playing rounders. And those are, that's my 101.
Yeah, I mean, a go-ahead goal. Jesus Christ,
it's like it reminds me of that Muriel Spark, early Muriel Spark novel, The Go Away Bird. I mean, what does it mean? It means
nothing.
It's like Lewis Carroll's Jabberwocky or something.
The goal that put us in the lead. That's what it means.
Well, let's move on. You got to go ahead 101 for us, Lee.
I'm going to go for aggregators. The ones that they're not ITKs themselves. What they do is they pinch the first little tenuous bit of ITK from someone called like SZY exclusive, that kind of stuff, right? And then about 100 of these aggregators just basically regurgitate what they've said all day long. And on your feed, you're getting 10 of them pop up every few minutes.
Yeah.
And it's just so flippin' annoying because you think, oh, this is something new. And then you just read that, it's in brackets, tier 1 so-and-sos. It's just, so like, there's nothing original about these fuckers. Stick them in 101 and lock that door.
Absolutely. And of course, the thing is, they don't even bother to change the wording to make it look like their own.
No.
It's just, I'm just going to repeat everything word for word, comma for comma. I've got a quick 101. It's my wife. She's going in there. I cannot go into any coffee shop with my wife. It's just become humiliating. She will ask for a cortado. How much milk are you putting in? She wants to know to the milliliter how much milk they're going to put in. She wants to know the size of the cup before they pour it. Show me the cup you're going to put my cortado in. Show me the cup. And we're in France at the moment. They're all scrambling around. They see her coming. They put the fermé up on the door. They don't want to know her. But of course, we get this all round Crouch End. Wherever you are, she is going to demand coffee of such utter perfection that it's not achievable. It's not achievable. The thing is also, when they serve up a coffee that she doesn't like, the conversation goes to hell because she can't focus anymore. She's lost all focus. She's just thinking about that coffee and it's not right. So she is in room 101. I hope she can't hear me. And that's it. Now, let's move on to England v Norway, because we're a day away from the World Cup semi-final, aren't we, against Argentina? But let's have a little chat about the man himself. I did suggest on a previous podcast that Djed Spence was going to score the winning goal in the World Cup final. This doesn't seem quite so preposterous now, does it? Julie, Djed has come on, particularly the last two games against Mexico and Norway, and been absolutely fucking brilliant. Why on earth is there talk about selling him?
Yeah, for an absolute pittance to Everton was the last I read about it, probably from one of Lee's favourite aggregators, 25 mil. When you think of what the guy has been through, Conte's attitude towards him, not a club signing, all that sort of stuff, being, sent into exile, never really sort of looked on as somebody who fitted into Spurs, even when Ange was there. The guy's got war wounds. He's got his chin strap to keep his whole face from falling apart because people have been violent to him. His wrist is bandaged or whatever. He sort of comes on for these cameos and he's absolute mustard. He's a diamond player. I think he's got real bottle, that lad. I think he's smashing. And apart from that, he can play on the left, he can play on the right. He's versatile. I think we'd be mad to get rid of him. But what does RD think of him? I have no idea.
It's hard to know. There's all these suggestions about, RD doesn't fancy him. Likewise, doesn't fancy Gray, until someone pointed out that in May, RDZ was saying, Archie Gray is the future of this club and a future captain. It could just be shit, Lee, that, people suggesting that we want to get rid of him. Supposedly, the interested clubs are Inter Milan, Everton, as we've discussed, Aston Villa, Fulham and Nottingham Forest. So we can argue, can't we, that these performances would send his value skyrocketing, but isn't he more valuable to us?
You would think so, because, like Julie said, he's a versatile player, can play, in a number of positions, obviously. However, we have bought players in that are basically locking down those positions that he might be, needed for or has been in the past. So you've got, Robertson's come in, of course. So really, he's going to be sort of battling it out with King Porro on the other side, isn't he? I don't know. Does he fancy that after the World Cup he's just had, where we've sort of seen this kind of redemption arc, shall we say, for him with the England team, where, we've seen the videos, haven't we, which I find perplexing. Why these videos where the Tuchel's calling him out and shouting at him, and they're trying to paint that out like negative. But I think Tuchel's kind of is just trying to get the best out of the players. But the media seem to be pointing out, like, he's got a problem. Oh, this guy's lazy, or he's not, and now all of a sudden he's flavour of the month and they're trying to sell him.
Well, this is the thing. He keeps throwing him on the pitch in vital matches at vital moments. I mean, he's obviously rates him. As you say, it's media trying to cobble together some false narrative. Fucking media, eh, Julie? Oh, God. Journalists.
Yeah,
God almighty.
Absolutely. I'm sorry.
They are the worst.
I feel personally responsible. I really do.
So you should.
Yeah.
Let's have a little talk about breakout stars. In the past, there have been these people who you watch them at World Cups and you think, God, that guy's good, and then you never hear of them again. Anyone caught your eye this World Cup, Julie?
No.
Okie dokie.
I've already said my bit about Balogun, who I don't think we'll ever hear of again. I think I've just watched too much World Cup, honestly, because I was so pleased to see Ronaldo leave the stage. I really was, because I was getting so fed up of Ronaldo. I'm getting that way now. I see Messi, for instance, as well. He's really getting on my wick, especially as his favourite referee apparently has been appointed to referee the England game.
God.
So, yeah, you better leave me out of this, because everybody's going to hate me because I've had a go at Messi.
Okay, no, I couldn't care less. I mean, Lee, anyone caught your eye from this World Cup?
A couple of really good technical players. Noooo, who we've been linked with in the past and been linked with again. He looked really good for Norway. And Buadi, who may well end up going to Man City, but he looks like he's only 19. This guy, isn't he? And he's already looks like he's a future superstar.
Yeah, and we've just learned that Manzambi, Switzerland, is it, going possibly to Villa for 50 mil. The player who caught my eye was a guy called Haitham Yusri Fouad Hassan, who was playing the inverted right winger, and he was brilliant against Argentina. And I thought, who is this guy? He's amazing. And it turns out that he's an Egyptian professional footballer who plays as a forward for Segunda Division club Real Oviedo, and he's 24 already. So he's just having a couple of good games, isn't he? And he's generally regarded as shit. You can't judge it, can you, from a couple of cameos at the World Cup? Now then, let's move on to something here, a little bit of frivolity and nonsense. Julie, if you had of course you wouldn't, but if you had a Spurs tattoo, what would it be and where would you stick it?
Well, I'm not a fisherman. I'm not a sailor. So I would never, ever have a tattoo. My mum told me they're really common. And my boys have all got tats. And so I disinherited them, basically.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say. But if I did, it has been suggested that I would have a tattoo of Steve Perryman on my bottom.
Okay. Yeah.
And really,
I think that's our friend Sam, isn't it? Sam has suggested that.
That is our friend Sam.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sam.
Well, that's a great suggestion. I'd like to see that. Well, I don't know if I would like to see it. That sounds a bit creepy, doesn't it? Lee, you are common as muck, therefore, because you have more than one Spurs tattoo.
I do. First of all, after being tattoo shamed by Julie, I could see her with love and hate on her knuckles, couldn't you?
Definitely.
Yes, I do have two. Thank you very much. And I have one of the very famous image of the old guys polishing the cockerel, the one with the flat cap and the big cockerel right in the centre. And I've got that in the sort of upper shoulder area. And I've also got, straight after the Europa League final, my son and I decided we'd go and get a pair of matching tattoos of Mickey van der Ven, just little tiny ones, clearing the ball off the line. Couldn't help it. Links us forever, not just in
Had to be done. It had to be done. I'm afraid to say I share Julie's slight distaste when it comes to tattoos. My daughter had one when she was 18. Day she turned 18, and I said to her, right, that's it. You go, leave the house. And then I realised, of course, Sod had nowhere to go, really. So I kept her. And we still talk sometimes, So look, I let it go. If I was going to have a tattoo, it would be Glenn Hoddle's chip against Watford, and I would probably stick it somewhere only my wife could see. And I say, look, that's Glenn. Look down there. Look at it. I could see this going.
He's got a hunchback.
This is turning very sour. Let's move on. We did put this question. We put this question to our followers and listeners. Kevlar THFC. He's got the full crest and odere est facere or facere. I don't know how you pronounce that on his right arm. Roger has the cockerel on the ball on one calf and THFC on the other. Very big tats these, and that's proper commitment there, Roger. And Sam, we mentioned Sam. I'm not sure if he said he would have or he has got the cockerel on the ball on his left forearm. Mo. Now, we think Mo's a lady, don't we, Julie?
We do.
Yeah, I would never make the mistake that Mo is male, right? That wouldn't happen. So that's an in-joke. Mo says it would be on the shoulder. She's waiting for us to win the Premier League or the Champions League. That's going to be a long wait. I hope you're young, Mo. Good luck with that.
I think I know Mo. And
Mo?
I think so. If it is the same Mo, she's lovely and she drinks at the Coach and Horses. Hello, Mo. If it is the same person.
There you go. You've had a shout out. I think it's called a shout out.
Yeah, Mo is lovely. She made a great contribution to the 81 book that I did with Stevie P.
Ah, okay.
What's
wrong with my contribution? What's wrong with mine?
You're just the twit, Simon.
In the appendix, it says twit comments, page 76. Mo incidentally has a dolphin there that needs covering. There's a program, isn't there, on some obscure channel where they turn shit tattoos into other tattoos that are better, and I think we need to refer Mo to that program. All right, I don't know what I'm just talking crap. Look, I think we're
digging. You're digging.
'Twas ever thus. Thank you to Lee Brown for joining us today. Thank you to Julie Welch, as ever, for joining us. Lee, you're back next week as well, aren't you?
Mm-hmm.
You're back. So, you're getting turning. I don't want to call you a regular because I don't want you getting a bit carried away with yourself. You know what I mean?
It's just like keep me in my place.
We'll see. Yeah. Yes. Well, we'll see you both next week, along with a brand new guest coming on next week. But why not give us a follow on Twitter at NiceOneCyrilPod? We have our own website, www.niceonecyrilpodcast.co.uk. All of the episodes are on there, plus lots of other stuff. Photos of the common as muck Lee Brown, not brandishing his tattoos, but we might be able to persuade him to upload a photo of those. And the other thing is to give us a subscribe or follow on the podcast platform of your choosing. That's it for today. We'll be back next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Come on, you Spurs.
Nice one, Cyril.